What is up, everyone? Renfail here, and welcome back to another EVE Online guide. Today, I'm going to be talking about combat. And if you're someone who's new to the game like me, I've been getting a lot of help from not only the tutorials, but also the people in the community who have been reaching out and helping me with all of these commands and tricks of things like how to group weapons and how to track targets and how to set up your hotkeys and all this other stuff that I would have had no clue to do, because the tutorial system, although it has some stuff to get you going in the game, it doesn't necessarily have all of the things that are going to teach you how to be really good at combat. Now, I don't do PvP. I'm only interested in the PvE side of the game. So for me, I'm only out there doing space exploration missions and just following these storylines. But I have found some things that have been really useful to me as a new player. I'm literally getting into this game for the first time. I've been playing like 3 different weekends with a little bit in between, and coming into a game that's 20 years old and learning this for the first time has been very interesting. And I've also found that there have been a community of people who, like me, are also new to the game, and we've been having fun putting together these beginner guides for everybody. So today, we're creating the ultimate beginner's guide to combat in EVE Online, and some tips and tricks to help get you up and going if you're a new pilot like me, so that you can avoid like struggle busing when you get into a combat scenario and being like, oh my god, what are they talking about? What am I supposed to do here? So without further ado, we're going to jump in and show you some of the tricks that I've learned over the past few weeks of playing the game. If you like this guide, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Check out the playlist down below for more guides and the live streams. Don't forget we're multi-streaming these days on Twitch as well, so you can find us over there. Without further ado, let's get into the game. Alright, one of the first tips I can give you is right out of the gate is when you first come out of a station and you're in this POV and you're looking around you and you're trying to figure out where to go, what to do. You can follow the waypoints, everything else. But one of the things I didn't know until I got a little deeper into the game is there is a difference between first person and third person in this game. So the default, I believe, is third person, or at least that's what it's always had me on, is third person. So in third person, you can hold the left mouse button and pan around your ship like so, and scroll in and out like so, and get great bird's eye view. But you can also go in down here. It's on this menu that's down here at the bottom of the screen. There's a first person camera button that you can click, which immediately then puts you into first person, which I did not know you could do. And from here, you can just click on targets and choose to move around and so on and so forth. But you can move your camera around by left clicking like so, and then if you're gonna move around, it shows you the controls here: pitch up, pitch down, turn left, turn right, so on and so forth, just like so, like we're doing right there. Now, if you prefer this point of view, I think this works really good when you're in combat scenarios, but if you're going to be looking for a more tactical view, you're going to want to use the third person right here. And then if you want to go even deeper into it, you can get into the tactical camera, which gives you a bird's eye view of the battlefield from up top like this, so you can scroll all the way out. And then you can get into crazy stuff like putting on a tactical overlay and everything else. So understanding that there are a variety of types of views that you can take, whether it's first person or third person, I didn't really know that, and the tutorial didn't tell me about all of these things on the bottom left, so I just had to figure these out as we were going along. But orbital camera is the one that most people prefer and use, and then of course you can go into first person when you're in combat scenarios, if you will, as well. So that's the first tip in this video. Now, following on the heels of the first tip is the fact that when you're typically running around, like if we were to turn around and approach this space station like so, the ship is going to turn around, and depending on what our angle is, we can move the camera around to follow the ship however we want, scroll in and out, or so on and so forth. But one of the things that I found really useful is that you can right click and choose the track option here, which will put you immediately behind, and then you can just scroll in and out like so. Now, this also is extremely useful when you're in combat encounters, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute. But if I wanted to say orbit the, this will be the example of what it would look like in combat. Is like let's pick what do we got around here? Actually, let's look around here. Are there any vessels nearby? We might just need to pick the station itself. So let's say we pick the station and we choose to orbit the station like so. And it's going to turn around and start orbiting. Now, one of the options would be to track my ship. And it's going to go into this POV from behind as we track around. But the other way to do this is to actually track your target. So we could go over here if we wanted to and say pick the Federal Navy frigate, and we could choose to track that target. And now what it's going to do is it's going to track this target as I orbit around it. And what I have found in combat scenarios, or when I'm just doing exploration missions in general, I like to track on the way in. I'll be tracking my ship, but I like to switch my POV to track whatever is my target once I'm in orbital stance, because then it actually shows me as I'm firing at it, and so on and so forth. It's a little hectic to try to do that in combat, so I just wanted to show you what it looks like here as we choose to orbit around the Naval Academy here, where we are currently running missions. Alright, next up is checking the weapons that you have and looking at their current optimal range. Now it's going to be different for every type of weapon that you get. I'm currently using these Gatling railguns because these are what I was given during the early starter quests. And this is a tip that I have to give credit to somebody in the community for shouting out to me when we were doing one of the live streams. Because I didn't realize that there was an optimal range for everything. So as it says here, optimal range within 6,900 meters, fall off range within 10 kilometers. What that means is that your optimal range is right around 7 clicks, but anything beyond 10 clicks, you're going to start to miss a lot. Anything under 7 clicks, you're going to also miss a lot. So you're looking for a sweet spot of between 7 to 10,000. Now what you can do here is you can go up on the top right into your selection screen, and where it says orbit, you can actually right click this and set the default orbit distance. And what you're looking to do here is to set it to the optimal range for your guns. And since my guns are right around 7,000 meters, we're going to say 7,000. And that's going to now default this to the optimal tracking, or the optimal range for my guns, which is within 7,000 meters basically. Now, it's important to understand that anytime you bring new guns into the system, those distances are going to change, and ships and everything else have different variants. So whenever you're getting into a new ship and equipping your weapons for the first time, just double check the optimal range on your weapons and make sure to set your orbit distance to that, so that when you're getting into combat scenarios, you can actually automatically just start orbiting your target, and you will approach to the optimal range and start firing from the optimal range while you're in orbit, thus doing the maximum amount of damage. Now, the other thing that the tutorials didn't tell me, but that I learned later on from one of the great community members we have during the live streams, is that when you first start off playing and you've fitted your ship and with all the gear that you've got, and you've got your weapons equipped like this, is that you have to load ammo into the guns. I didn't realize that, because the first gun that you get is the civilian gun, which has unlimited ammo, but later on you get these guns where you have to have ammo. So the way this works is if you go to your inventory, I don't have any in my inventory like right now, so we would probably need to dock the ship and go to that. But essentially what you're looking for is in your inventory, you would have an ammo box, and I don't have one on me right now. I should have gone to the ship first to show you this. But essentially, let's see if we can dock real quick, and we will go to the Navy Academy, and let's dock. We're approaching. Let's turn the afterburner on. Go ahead and dock so I can show you what this looks like. Alright, we're docking real quick. I apologize for that one, everybody. I'm a newbie, so I like to show my videos even when I make mistakes, so I should have had this on me. But you could change the ammo types out as well, but one of the things I didn't realize was that you have to actually load ammo into your guns. So once you're into the loading area where you have your item hanger and everything, and you've got your stuff stored, a good idea is to actually just put some of this ammo in your ship so that you've got it with you. And I just switched everything over to this new ship earlier, so let's put the antimatter charges over here as an example. And what you would do to load these guns is you would just drag and drop this over the top of the weapons, and you notice that it just loaded into that weapon, and it's going to load to this one as well. And we've now loaded these two fully. That one still needs some more ammo. So let's go over here and put some tungsten charges in it. And looks like we are almost getting good to go. Oh, I see what we did there. Tungsten charges. because we have different types of ammo. And let's put that over here. So I've loaded these two up. This one has antimatter charge, this one has antimatter charge, and this is loaded with tungsten charge. So all of these do different things. And notice that now the optimal range has changed because of the ammo that we've put into the gun. So this is important to understand when we go. Remember how we were talking about earlier, there's things that change the optimal range of your guns. So now if we wanted to, let's go ahead and undock really quick so that we can get back out to the screen where we can change our orbit and everything else. And we'll hover over our guns. And we'll have a different optimal range now when we look at this. So optimal range 3400, 3400, and this one's 10K because it's got different ammo. So that's when you get into the fun stuff. So if this one's 10K and these ones are 3500, what we probably want to do is set these to 3500 for the moment, and then that one that's off, we would want to load some of the same ammo type into it so that all of our guns have the same optimal range. So remember that, because guns and ammo and everything else that deal with it change everything. But the loading of ammo is an important thing, and you can run out of ammo, so make sure you have backup ammo in your ship inventory so that when you're out in the field, you actually have more ammo at your disposal. Alright, next up is another thing that I didn't find out until community members helped me out, which is that by default, when you fit your items into your ship for the first time, specifically your weapons, they are going to be individually listed here. So in this case, I have 3 guns. If we go into my fittings, I have 3 different guns here. And right now they're listed as 3 individual guns down here on my hotbar down at the bottom of the screen. But there's this tiny little button, Group All Weapons, which I did not know what that was for or anything because I never went inspecting or anything like that. So if you click this, it actually combines all 3 of your weapons into one grouping so that when you choose to fire, you're firing all the weapons at the same time. Now this is very useful if, and we're making the assumption here, you're running the same guns with the same ammo and they all have the same preferred distance, the same optimal range. Because if the optimal range is off, remember how we showed in the previous section about the ammo types, and the tungsten had like a 10K range and the antimatter charges have like a 3500 range. So if you're dealing with guns where you have different guns, different gun types that have different ammo types, you're going to have these set up individually so that you could have one gun for long range and another one for short range. And then of course you get into like missiles and all the other stuff, but that's more advanced, which is why we're sticking to the beginner's guide content for this video, because that's what I know. I do know there's more advanced tactics. We'll probably get into that as we get deeper into the game, but for now, the easiest way that I have found to do things is just run the same guns with the same ammo, click that Group All Weapons thing, and that way all of your weapons are firing at the same time on the same cycle using the same ammo with the same optimal range, which makes it really easy to get into the PvE content. Alright, something else that I did not know when I first got going, which is why I love having such an amazing community, is that when I was equipping items to my ship through the fitting window, it was just automatically sticking them down here to the right of this central HUD. And I didn't understand that if you hold your left mouse button and go to move these, suddenly you see that you have a whole bunch of hotkeys. Can I get rid of this? Let's just minimize this for a minute so that I can have this available. If I hold and click on one of these, suddenly I notice that there's, and drag it over, I have all these, let me also minimize that to get it out of the way. I have all of these available hotbars. So we have the control function keys, the alt function keys, and just the function keys themselves. And you can choose to drag these wherever you want on any of these throughout here. And it's not readily apparent that that's the case. It's not really apparent that you can customize your hotbars and set this up however you want by dragging and dropping things. And so one of the suggestions that one of the people in chat gave to me was that, like, keep your weapons on the top bar, keep like your buffs and things on the second bar, and then like your third bar can be all for your like web stasis things and the things that are going to help you take down the targets. So you have one that's like for your self heals and your thermal banks and all the things that are going to help you survive, and then the other one is for the things that are going to, you know, affect the enemy themselves. But obviously you can customize these any way you see fit simply by dragging and dropping these things around, which I think is really cool, and I wish that they would have a better tutorial to show you these things, because the tutorial system they have does show you a lot of stuff, but it doesn't actively show you, hey, you can drag this around and customize your hotbar. But now you know. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Alright, so we are about to take a lot of what we just learned and put it into action. Now there's a couple of more things we could talk about on our way to the destination. We've got autopilot engaged and we're warping into a place where there's supposed to be a bunch of pirates. And one of which is that when you want to actively engage in combat, and you'll learn a little bit about this in the tutorial that the game has set up for you at the beginning, is that you have to lock onto your target every single time that you want to fire at something, and you have to manually toggle the firing mechanism or your guns to do damage to the target, and you have to approach the target and or orbit the target. So remember how we talked about setting your orbital distance for your guns to be such, or the orbital distance to the premium range for your guns? Okay, so as soon as we jump in here and we see pirates, we got to get a target lock. We have to approach with an optimal range, and I like to use orbit, so that we can then orbit around that target until we've shot it down. And another thing that's important to this is we're going to show you how to do all of this in real time. And also, when you're doing this, I didn't know this until someone on my stream showed me, is that as we get into this, you can target lock multiple targets at the same time. That way, as you take out a target, it will automatically lock on to the next one, then the next one, and then the next one, so that all you have to do is hit the orbit button and the firing button, so that you start orbiting the next target, firing on the next target, take it out, go on, so on and so forth. So we're going to do this in real time. We're about to pop in. I'm going to keep it in third person for now, but we might switch to first person in the middle of this. So notice we got 3 pirates that have now popped up in red on this screen over here to our right. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold control and left click each one of these individually. And what it's going to do is it's going to start locking on to all 3 of these targets. Now they're going to pop up on that top right up there, and the one that has the arrows circling around it in clockwise is the one that's currently targeted. Now they're firing at me. So what we want to do is we want to orbit that target. And you're going to see that it says orbiting that target. And then we want to start firing our weapons, and we can just hit this with a left click and it's going to start firing our weapons. Now remember how I told you you could choose to track your target or that target? They're going to die so quickly here, I'm just going to track my ship as we go around. Now, it's automatically going to go to the next one that I had target locked, but it's not firing my weapons anymore. Now, you can choose to mouse click, orbit, and your weapons, or you can use the hotkeys. W for orbit, like so, and then hit the F1 key to start firing. Now we're firing at that ship. Now, I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. We're going to go into first person so that you can see what that looks like. Now, there's nothing in front of us because we're not actually approaching the target. We're in orbit. So if you want to see that view, you would go out here and look at it this way. But you could also choose to go into the tactical view if you wanted to do it this way and see we're circling around the target like so.
The module has run out of charges.
Okay. Alright, one of my weapons ran out of ammo, but that's not that big of a deal because we still have 2 weapons that are fully loaded. So what I will need to do is, since that one ran out, is I'll need to go ahead and hit the fire button again, because it's going to want me to say, hey, do you want to still keep firing with the other 2? Alright, so now with this third target, I'm going to choose to track that target so that we're looking at it from this perspective, as so. Now we're already orbiting it, so I'm just going to get the F1 to start firing at it. And you're going to go from there, and we're going to take it out as such. And that's a little bit of combat in real time. Now, we come to the last part of this tutorial. Oh, never mind, we got more targets. So same thing, we're going to hold left control click, and we're going to click both of these red targets on the window screen here. And as they pop up, I'm going to say track, and I'm going to say orbit, and I'm going to say fire. Like so. There is one more part of this tutorial which we're going to get to, but we got to get through the combat first. go into first person here because I want to show you what this looks like if you choose to do something else. We're going to go to first person. And now I'm going to tell it this time, I'm going to say approach the target. So it's going to pull up and around and it's going to bring that into our view. And so if you were doing something from a long range distance and you wanted to see them from here, you could do it this way and start firing. And we can actually see what this looks like in first person. But the problem is this gets you too close sometimes for your optimal range, which is why the orbit is the best way to do it. That's such a cool thing. All right, we got 3 more targets that just popped in. Let's go back into this view. We're going to control click these guys to get them target locking. We're going to orbit. We're going to fire. Orbit and fire. Fire. All right. Sensors are picking up that you now have a strange bit of tech in your cargo. Bring it to me. That's for my quest. Now, before I do that, though, there's one more thing I want to show you about this. So we just take out a bunch of targets, and some of them might have loot. But how do you know which ones have loot? So if you look over here on this window on the far right, if you hover over these things, you'll notice the ones that have loot have a special icon that's filled in. The ones that are empty, where it says rec empty, it just shows an empty space in between that triangle. But the one that has loot has an actual icon representing, but you can also hover over and get the tooltip. So if I want to loot that object, I need to click it, I need to approach it. And the important thing here is that when you do this, you have to be within 2,500 meters to be able to loot an object. So we're going to go ahead and back out to the orbital camera link. So we're going to pay attention to the distance from the target. We're going to fly in. And as we get close, once we get within 2,500 meters, there's a button here that says Open Cargo. And this is how you loot your enemies once they're done. 30 meters, 27, 25. There we go right here. Open it and then click Loot All. Now we're going to go to the next one. We're going to click Approach. We're going to wait to within 2,500 meters. And pop it again. Loot All. Go to the next target on the list. Approach. Again, you could do this all from first person if you wanted to. Switch between the POVs. And 2,500. Loot All. And then I think we have one more over here. It says it's 13 kilometers away. Let's go ahead and back out. Let's hit our afterburner. Get a little extra speed going here. And this is how you loot your targets. But that's how you quickly see which ones are lootable and which ones aren't. And loot. Loot all. And that is how you do that, everybody. Now I have a destination to go to, so we're actually going to head back. We're going to hit our autopilot, which is going to actively transport us back to where we need to go. We're going to go ahead and check a side view here. And that, in essence, everybody, is the end of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Combat in EVE Online. Obviously, there's a lot more information in this game that I don't know about because it's a super deep game. It's really advanced. It's been out for 20 years. There's a ton of information out there, but these are the things that I've learned over the past few weeks of playing the game that have really helped me get up to speed on playing the game and learning how to be at least decent at the PvE combat. I'll probably get wrecked if I ever have to deal with PvP, which hopefully I never will, but I do recognize it, you know, as being a threat that might happen eventually. But I'm mostly here for the storyline and playing these little adventure quests and just exploring the galaxy and the variety of cool ships that I've been able to get from the missions so far. So I'm loving it so far. It's been great. If you liked this guide, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Please don't forget to check out all the other playlists here on YouTube. There's a playlist for EVE Online down below where you can find more guides to this game as well as the live streams, which right now I've been doing every Saturday morning, but that could change as we get into the 2024 new year. Check out all the other things we do here on the channel because we play lots of other games. Multi-streaming on Twitch, don't forget. Check out the Discord. I'll see everybody in the next one. Until then, stay safe and happy flying, everybody.